This keyboard right here, creme de la creme. Snow White switches. Snow White. This, every time you touch a keycap on it, birds come. I hope that's the right princess. Actually, since I'm new to this whole keyboard environment, I'm going to be learning them alongside you guys. And I'm going to be talking about them. So for anybody who has more experience than me, please don't be shy to just tell me what I'm doing wrong. Obviously, keep it nice. I'm learning. I'm learning, so education is important. But I'm enjoying this, so I want to share it with the rest of the people. We've all already seen hundreds of different unboxing videos. I kind of didn't want to spend my time doing so, and I wanted to get right into the box. Yeah, straight to it. Now, here's the thing. I really like the Asus products, and I got too excited, and unfortunately the keyboard is already out of the box. But don't worry, I'm still going to show you everything you need to see. When I first got my hands on this keyboard, I have to admit, I could not put it down because the typing experience felt so good. This keyboard itself features some nice RX Snow switches, and I really enjoyed it because pressing on this keyboard really felt like I was just typing on clouds. It was so light and it was very easy to press on and super quiet. My only issue is that I did feel the keycaps were a little bit too sensitive and they were fragile, and I kind of didn't really like that. Next thing is the snow switches. I think what really carries this keyboard are the new NX snow switches. They feel absolutely amazing. They're probably some of my favorite switches that I've tried of the latest keyboards that I've honestly gotten the chance to get my hands on. I wasn't really surprised by the amount of items that actually came with the keyboard. I was actually more surprised about the utility of the items because they gave you a tray so that if you do want to take out your switches and take them apart just to be able to relube them, you have a place to put them. I thought that was pretty neat. At first, I actually had no idea what it was for, so I was just trying to see if I could fit a switch on any of these things, and let me tell you, I was confused. I also ended up looking at these little black tags. That's what I'm going to call them because I'm not really sure what they are. From my understanding, they are supposed to be added under some keys just to make them a little bit less loud, just to give it a little bit more of that bounce. I was a little bit curious, so I went right ahead just to see if they were supposed to go under the spacebar. But when I got there, I didn't realize that there's already thick cushions, and it all made sense. At that moment, clarity really came to me because the cushions on this are so thick that it made sense why my spacebar was so quiet and the stabilization was so good. When it comes to the design of the keyboard, it did have a little bit of a sharp look to it due to the fact that it was very minimal, and I liked it. The side of the keyboard looked good, the top felt good, and certainly the fact that we do have a metal plate on top, I just really like that. I do wish that they added it to the back of the keyboard, but overall, the keyboard has very minimal designs and no large brandings due to the fact that a lot of us don't necessarily like large brandings, so they do add them, but they make it very hard for people to actually see. Just like, where's the logo, Asus? Not that I'm complaining, I actually think that was very well played. Let's get back to the accessories because we aren't done. On top of that, Asus included an extra lubing kit. I couldn't believe it because usually you have to buy this separately. That means now not only are the switches pre-lubed very well when you get this keyboard, Asus is like, here is some more just in case you want that extra lube on your switches. Okay, now I know everybody's waiting for me to turn this thing on. Even with all the lube talk, it took me a while, but I finally got it on and the RGB started going off. I was actually super impressed by the colors of these RGBs. I had to flip the keyboard over to get access to the USB plug, and I have to say that with my lubed hands, I dropped it right away. Now, I was actually super happy to see that the keyboard actually has a magnetic holder, so whenever you're putting back the USB, it actually just drops and gets sucked right in. On the other side of the keyboard, we do have the USB Type-C connection. So that means that this keyboard also features 3 different ways of connecting, whether it's through their high-speed 2.4, their Bluetooth, or their USB Type-C connector. I will say that one of my first impression of this keyboard is, why is it so heavy? And to answer that question, I will say that it is made out of a thick aluminum plate, which is actually what gives it that extra weight. You can actually visibly see the top plate, and I appreciate the fact that they didn't try to blend it into the keyboard and then they used it as an aesthetic towards it, and that to me is a major point for Asus. Let's kick up the legs of this keyboard so we can take a closer look at the 1.5-inch OLED screen on it. But first, let's give it a little bit of a cleaning so we can take a better look at what's going on. Using the side button that is connected to the knob, you'll actually be able to cycle through the control settings of this keyboard. One thing I do have to note is that whenever you go forward on the list, there's no way to go back, which means if you want to go back to your previous or whatever settings you were at, you'll actually have to cycle through all of it again. Now, I will admit, the first time I was cycling through the RGBs, I had no idea why they weren't working. So I kind of had to go on a little bit of a deep dive to figure out, oh, not only do I have to switch through them, but you actually have to control the light for every single setting separately, which means that sometimes you can land on a setting that hasn't been turned up in terms of brightness, so it will just seem black, and then you'll try to do something and nothing will happen, just like now. So I had to figure out that, hey, if you turn up the brightness for this specific theme, then yeah, you'll be fine. Until I figured that out, I honestly thought that I just didn't know how it worked, or I really needed to plug it in to have it work properly. So I was a little bit disappointed, but when I did figure that out, I was like, okay, let me go turn them all up now. I will say that it was a little bit annoying because I figured if I'm turning my RGB brightness at 100%, I want it to apply to all. Okay, with the RGBs looking so good, I really needed to understand what is going on and why they're so nice. Just to realize that they're just south-facing RGBs. I will say that if you're looking for a high-end minimalistic keyboard, this is the one for you. No big bindings, very good build quality, and decent amount of features, and stunning RGBs. If that's what you want, this is the keyboard for you. I would suggest buying it when it's on sale on Amazon. I'll leave a link down below. That being said, I will make a detailed review about this keyboard and post it shortly, so stay tuned and have a great day. Thank you all for watching.